Bush at the moment is accepting the second part of that advice and going for constructive dialogue with Mr. Gorbachev, particularly on Germany. He wants to see whether he can persuade Mr. Gorbachev to allow a united Germany to stay inside NATO. And on that, the Russians, I've just been to a briefing, the Russians are very, very tough. Georgy Arbatov, Mr. Gorbachev's foreign affairs advisor, saying, no, we will not accept a united Germany in NATO. So it's all to play for. Very exciting summit coming up. We'll be covering all 3 days of the summit here. Tomorrow, we have an interview with former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger to start the summit off. Then we go through Thursday and Friday, and of course we wrap up with a final review of what the summit's achieved on Monday.
And just before we go, a quick look at today's other main news stories. The Irish Prime Minister Charles Haughey has told the Australian Premier Bob Hawke that the Irish government utterly abhorred the IRA murder of 2 Australians in Holland. In Australia, where public opinion has been incensed, the Prime Minister described the killings as outrageous and cowardly. In London, at the Australian High Commission, the widow and girlfriend of the murdered men spoke for the first time about the killings.
It's a nightmare. It's just something that doesn't happen. You know, it doesn't happen to you. You know, it was, I don't know, it was just something out of a horror movie. It was horrible.
Both Lyndall and I have suffered a great shock, and it's just. Our emotion and our shock is completely taken up with the fact that Lyndall's husband and my boyfriend has died, and I don't think that there's any emotion left to have any anger or any sort of feeling towards the IRA, and that is probably something that's going to come later on.
Peter Brook, the Northern Ireland Secretary, has had talks at Stormont Castle with the leader of the Alliance Party, John Alderdice. Today's meeting was the latest in a round of talks designed to break the political stalemate in the province. Police and troops have been trying to restore order in the Pakistani province of Sindh today. The fighting between the native Sindh community and Mujahir immigrants from India has claimed over 170 lives in the last 4 days and forced Prime Minister Bhutto to fly to the region in an attempt to restore peace to what is her home province. A leader of the Iranian Hezbollah group has said there could be a shortcut, his words, to the release of some British hostages if Salman Rushdie were expelled from Britain. He told a West Beirut radio station that some groups could think of responding to that situation. Markets now, and in New York, shares closed at an all-time high tonight. Dow Jones finished up 2870, up 50 points. In London, the evidence of a slowdown in the UK economy encouraged the 100 index 30 points higher to finish at 22.95. On the foreign exchanges, sterling picked up 1/3 of a cent against the dollar to close in New York at 169.40. No time to show you the headlines of tomorrow morning's papers, unfortunately. Just to tell you that's all from Newsnight for tonight. Don't forget breakfast news at 6:30 in the morning. We'll be back tomorrow at our usual time of 10:30, but for the moment, from all of us on the programme, a very good night to you.
Tomorrow on 2, a new series, Hidden Ground.
All fiction has its autobiographical roots, spreading through, in my case, a provincial world, limited and claustrophobic. It isn't nostalgia that pulls the fiction writer back into the past. It's his curiosity about the state of childhood and his feeling that what happens in childhood has happened forever.
Irish novelist William Trevor explores his hidden ground tomorrow at 7:30 on 2.
Now on BBC Two, The Late Show, which this week joins in the season of Tales from Prague and is introduced tonight by Michael Ignatieff.
Welcome to the Café Slavia in the historic heart of Old Prague. The cafe is a famous haunt of artists, writers, and intellectuals. In the 1970s, Václav Havel and other dissidents used to gather here to talk politics while stone-faced men in suits from the SDB, the security police, eavesdropped on their conversations. Havel's now president and the guiding spirit of a revolution that has to decide what to do with those eavesdroppers. Nearly 8,000 of them, plus 150,000 informers and 1.7 million party members who ran this country until 7 months ago. That's the question for debate tonight. How does the Velvet Revolution reconcile retribution and reconciliation as it struggles to de-Stalinize the hearts and minds of a whole society?